Hi everyone! After my last bridal makeup tutorial, I knew I wanted to bring you guys a more affordable, drugstore oriented bridal makeup tutorial. I wanted to show you guys that you can achieve the most incredible bridal makeup look for your wedding day using only drugstore makeup. But before we go ahead, please remember to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you know when my next videos go up. Let's get this started. So just to save some time, I've already prepped my skin. Skin prep is so important for bridal makeup. It's gonna help you with hydration and longevity, and also you wanna be the most radiant, glowing bride. And everything that I use will be listed down below in the description box. I'm going to start off by priming my face with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. You can use whatever primer works for you. I don't really have pores or anything. I just need my makeup to grip and stay on. So this is why I really like this primer. I'm going in with the e.l.f. Liquid Filter in the shade 4. I like to place that just on the high points of the cheeks and on the cupid's bow, a little bit on the chin, and some right over the eyebrows. And I'm just gonna press that in with a brush here. If you do have hyperpigmentation, you could go ahead and correct it before you do this step. I do have a little bit of hyperpigmentation, but it's not really that severe, so I can do it after my foundation. Today, because I'm not doing a really crazy eye look, I am going to start with my face. For foundation, I'm going in with probably one of my top 3 foundations from the drugstore. It is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation in the shade Sun Beige. I forgot to mention to you guys, I already have my brows done because it's just the same old boring thing. You can do your brows however you like. So normally with foundations on a wedding day, I would like stipple it on. Since I know that this foundation is pretty like natural matte and can tend to look a little bit makeup-y if you're not careful, I'm gonna do this drag down method. So the drag down method is just gonna shear out the foundation, but you can already see how amazing the coverage is, and it's a really good shade match as well. So I like to just work it in these short little strokes, and I really like to work it into the skin with the brush first, and then when I'm done that, I will go in with a damp sponge and just press everything in. I love this foundation and really just blurs everything out and also lasts so long. This is why for drugstore foundations, this is probably my top pick for bridal makeup. I like to keep the foundation in a really thin layer. Because of all the cream products and concealers and everything that you're gonna go in with later, you don't want to build up too thick of a layer of foundation to start. You can always add coverage where you need it later with concealer and press everything in just to smooth it all out. Next, I'm using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Medium Sand to start correcting and concealing all my problem areas. And I'll dip it into the concealer. I really work it into the brush. I don't want a lot of excess product on there. Just going in to conceal my hyperpigmentation now. This concealer is so beautiful and hydrating, and it's so creamy. Honestly, this is my favorite drugstore concealer. I use it every single day. That coverage is insane, and it does a fantastic job of correcting any darkness that I have. If you guys notice, I'm only taking this correcting concealer in the areas where I really need to like correct my darkness and conceal. I'm not going to take it on the forehead and on the nose. I'm going to use a lighter color concealer to highlight there, and I don't need extra coverage. I'm just pressing everything in with a damp sponge to melt it all into the skin. Now I am going to prime my eyelids with concealer, but before I do that, I am just going to wipe off any like excess oils or skincare product that migrated up to my eyelids. So I'm going to take that same concealer and I'm going to blank out my eyelid. Whether you're using concealer or eyelid primer, you just want to make sure you do go ahead and lightly set it with powder after all your creams so that everything blends well when you come to blending eyeshadows. So next I'm going to go in with cream contour, but today I'm really excited to use a brand new product. I found these from Essence. This is a cream bronzer and a cream blush. This is called the Baby Got Bronze and Baby Got Blush, and I had to pick these up. I've been wearing these every day for the last couple days. The cream bronzer is in the shade Mocha Me Crazy, and this is perfect for my skin tone. With cream bronzer, you never want to go in with the stick. I feel like it becomes hard to control and blend. So what I like to do is actually just take a cream bronzer brush and I'll actually take it off the bronzer. So you're working it into the brush and it's gonna blend it out for you and do the work for you on your face. So I love that tone of bronzer. Now I took a little too much, so I'm just gonna work that off on my hand and go back in, and I just do the stipple motion. I personally like to keep the bronzer placement pretty high. I don't like to bring it down right here because I feel like it drags my face down. So I just want to get the placement down first, so I'm not going to be too worried about blending that all out right now. Never mind, I think I will blend out the edges here. Just stippling it on. I'm not dragging it across the face. I don't want it to move any of my product underneath. And then I like to go underneath the jaw, and then I'll always bring my creams down my neck a little bit just to keep the colors cohesive. And on your wedding day, don't be afraid to go in with a little bit more product than you would naturally feel used to, because the photos actually take away a lot of the makeup. So this is gonna look really great in photos as well as real life. And then you can take a sponge and blend out the edges. And then I like to bring a little bit of that cream bronzer and contour around the mouth, because this is going to give you that really nice plump look to your lips without adding a lot of lip liner. And if this is not your style, you don't have to do it, or you don't have to go as crazy as I do, but this is how I like it. And then I'm going to bring the contour on the sides of my nose. I personally believe that contouring or bronzing your nose is very, very important. The point is that you're bringing the same definition back to all the parts of your face that you would have in the perimeters. The next thing that I really like to do is to take that bronzer into this area underneath the brow where the nose meets. Again, you're just defining and carving out the shadows. And this is really going to stand out amazingly in your photos. And you're not going to have to use so much eyeshadow and eye makeup to build up a look. So I've just taken that through the crease. Looks a little bit crazy right now, but trust the process. And then I'm taking a little bit underneath as well. So this is where I like to go in and brighten the center of my face. So I'm just going in with the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. This is my second favorite concealer from the drugstore. This is cashmere and this is cashew. I think I might end up mixing the both of them a little bit. And I'm gonna start just packing that where I want it. Okay, so yes, I really like those two shades mixed. I don't think it's too light, but it still gives you a really nice highlight. So I'm just keeping that a little bit more concentrated in the center areas, brightening around my nose, my smile lines, and my cupid's bow, chin. Got it on my forehead, and I'm gonna take a little bit down the center of my nose. I love this concealer because it is pretty blendable, even though it is a matte finish, but it's sort of like a natural matte. And then I'm just gonna go back in with the sponge and start pressing everything in again and making it all seamless. And then I actually like to take my foundation brush that I applied the foundation with, and I'll go in and sort of blend and press in the edges of that concealer and bronzer. It will just melt all the edges in together. Next, I'm going in with that Essence Cream Blush in the shade Rosé All Day. This one I'm actually going to take onto my hand because I really want to melt the product and make it very malleable. And then I'm going to take it off my hand onto this blush brush, and I'm really working it into the brush so that it's already pretty much blended, so that when you put it on your face, it's just gonna go on beautifully blended. With the blush application, I do like to start in the highest point of my cheekbones and concentrate it there. And then when I have finished most of the product, I will take it over the edges. And I love to bring it really high up, even right up underneath the eye, because it really does brighten the eye. Do you see how beautifully rosy and perfect that shade is, and also how nicely that blended out? Whatever's left over, I'm just gonna take that onto the temple and on the forehead. It's like very minimal, but what this does is it brings in all the colors of the face together and makes it all cohesive. And I like to take a little bit on the nose and a little bit on the chin. I'm really impressed by these Essence cream bronzers and blushes. They blend in so beautifully. They are so creamy and melty. They also really last well on the face. And I also bring it down the center of the neck a little bit. I love taking blush everywhere, so I'm gonna put it on the eyelids as well, just at the edge of that crease. And then I'm gonna go in with the final pass of my sponge and melt in all of those edges. Next, I can't wait to get on to the powders. I feel like one of the departments that's actually kind of lacking in drugstore is loose setting powders. So if you guys have any that you really love, you're gonna have to let me know down below. Particularly like loose powders that you can bake with. I know that Makeup Revolution have their like loose banana powders and stuff, but I personally find those kind of powders to be really heavy. So I actually have 2 drugstore powders that I'm going to use today. Obviously you can use whatever you like. I'm pretty sure the Maybelline Fit Me loose powders have got to be probably some of the best loose powders, or maybe the best loose powder that is available in the drugstore, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but this is going to be closest to your like Huda Beauty type loose powder. I do find that this can cake up easily, so you have to be very careful with how much you use. It is called a finishing powder, so it's best not to bake with it, but you can. It is going to blur out your pores, but if you have any like raised texture, it might accentuate it. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and set and bake with first is my second favorite powder from the drugstore. It is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Loose Setting Powder. This is so beautiful. I have this in the shade medium, so I'm just going to take that on a powder puff. Before you do this, make sure you are smoothing out any of your creasing that has happened with your concealer, because you don't want to set creases. You want everything to be smooth. Then I take that e.l.f. powder in a puff and really just work it into the puff, and then I will start setting my concealed areas. Where I like to focus the majority of that powder is this inner corner, and then I bring it sort of to the center and diffuse it out, and then I bring it down the center of the face and over the smile lines, and then down to the chin. I don't want to create too much cakiness or take away a lot of the glow that we've created, so I'm really just focusing that powder where I need to take away shine and really lock in the concealer. You see how smoothing and blurring this powder is, and it's also got that natural glow to it, so it's not going to give you a very flat look. So I'm going to bring it down the center everywhere that we have put that concealer. I'm going to come in here and just set and cut under those bronzed and blushed areas, and this is gonna just further enhance that contour that you have and really cleans it up. I'm not gonna let this sit for long at all. I'm just going in straight away and dusting off all of that excess powder, and I'm gonna take that powder and also set that crease area where we put a lot of creams. So we're going to go ahead and start setting the rest of the creams, the cream bronzer, the cream blush, and I'm so excited today because I picked up the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Bronzer in the shade medium. Here's what the shade looks like. This is a beautiful like neutrally bronzer shade that I usually love, and I've been wanting to get my hands on this for so long. I'm so excited to have this today, and I'm trying it out for the first time. Alright, so let's see. That's a really nice tone. It's exactly that in between a contour and bronzer shade that I really love. This is going to give me a really nice chiseled look, and the depth is also really nice. It's not like too dark or too light. It's going to show up really well, give you a really lovely bronzy look. If you guys are unsure how things are going to look, you could always do your makeup and then take pictures in natural light or whatever lighting you're going to get your photos taken in, and see how everything looks, because those photos are really going to show you how well your colors show up and also where you might have gone patchy in your blending. This bronzer blends out so smoothly. It is just so buttery and soft. And then just as prep for the eye look, I'm going to take this bronzer and set. I mean, we've already set, but take it right over those areas that we've taken the cream bronzer. And you don't have to be perfect here, but I like to kind of concentrate it and pack it in on that outer edge here, and then I'll slowly do like very light circular motions, and I'm holding the brush at the very end, so I have a light hand, and then I like to diffuse the edges, and I'll really work that up to like my brows. Don't be afraid to work the bronzer up to your brows, and this is a really amazing way to get a seamless transition shade that matches the shades of your face, and it ends up looking like beautiful depth to your eye. This is just so much more soft and ethereal looking, and then when you have run out of the bronzer on your brush, or most of it, you can just sort of work it into that contour area. You see the difference of how amazingly defined this eye is, and we haven't even added eyeshadow yet. When I get to the edge, I'm literally like flicking it outward, and I really like to drag that shape out. If your eyes already have a lift and you're trying to balance it out, instead of like lifting it up, you can just blend the shadow out straight so it balances your face out. And then taking that in the lower lid. Okay, so the next item I had to run out and buy today because, let's face it, drugstore doesn't also have a lot of great eyeshadow palettes or eyeshadow options. I mean, there are some, but the choices are not fantastic. There is one palette that I have wanted to get for years. I thought that this video would be the perfect reason to go out and get it. It is the Makeup Revolution Reloaded Velvet Rose palette. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? What does that remind you of? The only reason I didn't pick this up when it came out was because this is like a literal shade dupe to the Anastasia Soft Glam palette, which I already had. I don't have that palette on me right now, so I can't give you a comparison, but please, like, go look at the pictures online, or if you have the palette on you, you can compare it to the shades in here. It is like identical. So I'm really excited to dig into this to see how close the formula and shades really are. Plus, I think that this also has some extra shades that I really like this more neutral brown. So I think I'm going to go in with these like soft orange shades to just soften up the transition a little bit. I'm going to go in with that light one first and see how that goes. I just want to make it less like, you know, shadowy. So you can see that actually beautifully soften up that edge. These blend beautifully. Like, these shadows are comparable to the Anastasia palette shadow. And then I think I'll mix that orange with a little bit of this neutral brown just to start to deepen up that outer corner. I'm so stunned by how beautiful the quality of these shadows are. Like, they're just going on so well. They're pigmented, but not like crazy, and they sort of blend themselves out, which is so nice. And I'm gonna go in with that transition shade brush, just soften the edges. And then I will take those closer to the lash line, just start to smoke it out. And then I'm gonna go in with this shade in the top here and just start to smoke out the lash line. And this doesn't have to be totally perfect, it's just powder. It'll blend out. Take a little bit down on the bottom, just on like the outer half really, or outer third. I will start to blend this shadow up and create sort of like a smoky wing. If you feel like you've made a mistake, you can just take your sponge and you can just go underneath and stamp that out and just clean up underneath the eyeshadow. Next, I'm going to go in with the dupe of my favorite shade in the Anastasia Soft Glam palette, which is the shade Sultry, and I think this is the closest one, so I'm just going to take that on my finger. That's what it looks like. Let's see. This is basically to a T the same formula and shade as Sultry in the Soft Glam palette. It's a beautiful like mauvey rose color, and I just love it because it gives you that sort of smoky look without looking really intense. So I put it mainly in the inner like half of the eye, and then when I get to the outer part, I like to diffuse it out even up into that transition area, because that gives it that like beautifully ethereal look where it's just like a little bit shimmery everywhere. And then I'll just take my fluffy brushes and blend in those edges. I like to take a really dark brown and I take it on like an angled liner brush, and I'll start to really define the wing. So this, I'm trying to get as close to the lash line as possible. That brown was really pigmented and easy to work with. I'm going to take my NYX Lift and Snatch brow pen in the shade Espresso. It's the same one that I used on my brows, and I'm going to just intensify this liner just closest to the lash line, and I'm just bringing it into that inner corner so that it blends well into the lashes. And then I went in with a bit more of the brown shadow and blended it over the top. Now I'm just going in with my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara. I don't really need to do too much with this because I'm going to go in with false lashes after. And on your wedding day, I always recommend going in with a waterproof mascara. because you never know what's gonna happen on that day and you don't want your mascara to like run or smudge or flake. Before I do my lashes, I just want to finish off the rest of the powders on my face. For highlighter, I'm going with my favorite highlighter of all time from the drugstore. It is the Revlon Skin Lights highlighter in the shade Daybreak Glimmer. It's pretty beat up, well loved, and falling apart. This is such a stunning, like, high-end comparable highlighter. I'm just gonna target the inner corner, highlight there, just give it a little bit of a pop, and also on the cupid's bow. My face is already a little bit glowy, but I do like to go in with highlighter before my powder blush, just to make sure it's not like a weird stripe on the face. I will just take that over this outer C, basically. Powder blush was an easy pick for me. There is one powder blush from the drugstore that I wear almost every day, and it is also from Essence, believe it or not. And I had to depot it to put in a bigger palette. This is Essence, the blush shade in Believing. It is this beautiful, like, purpley mauve shade. So after I go in, I always tap off the excess on my hand, and like, how stunning is that shade? It is perfect. It's so beautiful on medium olive skin tones, just also keeping this high and just focusing on the higher parts of the cheeks and then diffusing it out to the edges. And then I bring the residual over the nose, forehead, and again through the brow bone. And you know what to do with the sponge. And now I'm going to take that Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade Light Medium. And because it's a finishing powder, I'm just going to dust this as a finishing powder in all the areas that I just want to take the shine down. And look at that blurring and smoothing. So this is not as glowy. It's definitely more matte, but it's just going to bring the whole look together. And again, it just gives you beautifully airbrushed look. I'm gonna just further clean up the cheekbones here. Everything is just perfected and smoothed out. It just diffused all the edges of the powders that I use, the powder blush, bronzer, just made everything so perfect. Next is lashes, and I'm so excited about this, guys, because I was gifted lashes from Ardell Lashes, and they were so generous to send me all these lashes to stock up my kit. Ardell strip lashes were the lashes that were my favorite to use in my kit. They have the most natural looking fluttery lash strips, which are these ones. This is in the 420 and this is the 421. They both look amazing on brides, but the ones that I've been dying to try were these pre-glue lash extension style lashes. So they sent me two styles. This is in the soft volume, and the other box I actually got into already and tried. This is in the style natural. You guys can see that I tried to put it back and I didn't do a great job. So they are pre-glued, and I'm gonna go ahead and just pop them on. Now they are pretty freaking sticky, so you have to be pretty careful with them. So these are the ones that just go on underneath your lashes. So I'll get close and see if I can show you guys. You just look down on your mirror and then just place them under your lashes. So that's how it goes on. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish through all my lashes and I'll come back. So after a million years, but this is them on. Aren't they stunning? And I love the fact that I didn't have to like go through the whole mess of putting glue on. So you just pop them on. I have 12s on just the ends, and then a few 10s through the center, and then 8s just in the inner corners here. You can bet that this is gonna stay on your face all day long because of how sticky they are. So thank you again, Ardell, for sending me these lashes. I absolutely love them. Now we're moving on to lips. I almost forgot. Before I move on to the lips, I wanted to put one more thing on my eyes, and that is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade A Little Quirky. It's this really beautiful, like, goldy bronze. Always love to put these glitter toppers at the end, and it just gives you this beautiful, like, three-dimensional finish. just a little bit in the center there for a little bit of a pop. It's just gonna catch the light in the most amazing. And now for lips, in keeping with the mauve theme, I am going in with probably my new current favorite lip liner from the drugstore, which is the new e.l.f. lip liners in the shade Mauve Aside. So I'm gonna fill in my entire lips with this. I'm going in with my Rimmel lip liner in the shade Brownie Pie. This is just like a deep brown. And I'm gonna just bring that definition back. Keeping that to just those inner bits. I'm not gonna overline anymore because it's like already really big looking. Maybe just define Cupid's bow. Before I do anything more with the lips, I like to go in and set my lips. Yes, set it with my blush, the same blush that I used on my face. I will just take it on a fluffy brush, and I've had that color on. And I also love doing this because it again brings the same tones back on the face. And then to finish off the lips, I'm going in with, I don't know which one to do. I'm between the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline and the e.l.f. Pelt Cloud, and this is in Pinky Swear or Pinky Promise. I don't recall. I'll put all the shades down below. Let me just try the e.l.f. one because I do want... Yeah, that's the one that I want to go with. Just in the center of the... And then finally, I'm going in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist to set my face. That is the finished makeup look. I actually love this drugstore affordable bridal makeup look more than my other like mostly high-end. I love these romantic rosy tones, especially for bridal makeup, especially for medium brown and olive skin tones. I have truly actually surprised myself. I had no idea what this would turn as, but can't stop looking at myself in the camera, in the mirror. Everything looks flawless. So thank you guys again for watching this drugstore affordable bridal makeup tutorial. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know what to do. Leave them down below, and I will see you all again soon.